Hi, welcome to Bold TV. Shay here, and joining me today is a writer and director from the Emmy Award-nominated series King Ester. Welcome, Dui Jarrod. How are you, Dui?
I'm doing great. How are you, Shay?
I'm great, and I feel like you have a big smile on your face. Life is looking good for you right now. 2020 is not bad at all for you right now. How are you? How is your 2020?
I appreciate you asking. It's out, I think, really a matter of perspective. And I think for me, early on, I really changed my perspective pretty quickly. I'm a really emotional dude, so I was super emotional for the whole world, like those first few weeks. But then over time, I've really been able to like transform my mindset and my mind frame. And now I'm making more actionable decisions about what I can do instead of lamenting what I can't do. So I'm in a good place. What about you?
Nice. I feel like I'm the same way. I feel like during the beginning of quarantine, well, 2020 kind of started a little rough with the whole Kobe situation. And you are from New York, so I think when Pop Smoke as well passed away, kind of hit us all, being that you're from Brooklyn too. But I think that besides that, everything has been going pretty well. So we're just gonna keep it moving and keep that smile on your face, on my face, and on everybody else's face, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So I think what everyone wants to know, and I feel like we want to embrace this feeling with you. How does it feel to be Emmy nominated?
That's my first time even hearing that back to me like that. Wow. I don't know. It's still very surreal to me, to be quite honest with you, because it was really a shot in the dark. I mean, there's no way for you to know that you could even attain something like that. So I think it's still kind of one of those moments that I'm like, man, did this really happen to me? Did I really get this Emmy nomination? But it's real. I keep getting emails, so it feels like a real thing, and it feels really amazing. Not only for myself, but I'm also really happy for the entire team.
No, I think it's amazing. I'm sure it is a surreal feeling to even like fathom when your hard work is getting like recognized and even awarded, I think that's amazing.
It really is, especially for creators of color, especially with a topic that is as challenging as the one that I created. Usually, when you make something that's really challenging or too challenging, people tend to walk away from it. But it was very beautiful to see people lean into the discomfort of Esther and her life. And I thought that was really interesting. And I think people also found it interesting that a young Black man did it. So it's been like really different, and it's been a different experience having been on the film festival circuit as long as we were working with Issa Rae and their team. It's been really incredible, and I just could not be more proud of the entire team. And I am truly happy about both my nominations. I'll just let you know that off top.
No, be transparent. We love it here. We love it. Can you tell us a little more about what the series is about?
So King Esther is the 7-day series about a Black trans woman in New Orleans having to decide whether to leave or stay for Hurricane Katrina as it comes to town. And I know for me, the reason why it was so difficult is not necessarily dealing with the gender of it all, but really dealing with the heart of a person who really couldn't find their way and needed help in finding it. And so for me, it was very triggering because I went through Katrina when I was younger. It was an extremely tough experience for me to have gone through. So for me to go back there mentally and to write this series from that perspective was very difficult. So it was triggering in a lot of different ways. Some of the things that happened to Esther in the series actually kind of happened to me. And so you're looking at it through the lens of a character who's not actually experiencing it. But it was tough and it was difficult, but it was really beautiful to see a bunch of people come together for a purpose much greater than ourselves and to really serve Esther and her beautiful journey.
With you taking on this project as well, how are you able to resonate and relate with this character and really like bring out the character's personality?
Well, the foundations of our empathy are the same, right? Esther just wants to be seen. And as a young Black creator in this industry, it's extremely tough for all of us. It's been tough for me because I just wanted my work to be seen. So when I was able to start there as empathy as the common denominator, it was really easy to draw everything else from there. But just really engaging and locking into the research, locking into her journey, and not necessarily making it about gender, but making it about humanity is how I was able to really plow through it. And I just shot it in the most nuanced, beautiful way that I possibly could.
What was it like working with Issa Rae?
This year, I got to work as a shadowing director underneath Kerry Washington on this set of Insecure, and I got to see how hard she worked and the atmosphere that she created. And what I understand is the work is it is exemplified on how it's actually done. And so it was beautiful for me to see a person at the top making sure that diversity, making sure that gender, LGBT, all these different experiences and expressions are allowed to flourish on a set in the same way that I did. So to see her do it on a larger scale was really phenomenal. But I couldn't imagine being her and having to do all those different roles. I couldn't imagine.
Definitely. And representation in Hollywood is a big topic right now, as you mentioned as well. What work do you think needs to be done for there to be equity in this industry?
Whew, that's a tough thing because it really has to come from the consciousness that you have. One of the things that I'm most proud of with King Esther is that we didn't just use a transgender story to magnify our own self and our own skills. We made sure that we came in with empathy to understand the story and make sure that there was, I mean, we had beautiful trans people, men and women, behind the scenes, behind the camera. They had ownership, they were producers, they were part of this inclusive mentality that you have, but that starts in your heart, right? So people need to first start in their heart that they need to change. And from there, you can go and start really seeing diversity.
My grandpa always told me, clean the garbage out of your heart. So like you said, it starts from your heart. So definitely we have to clean it out, clean out the clutter, and honestly just embrace change. I tell a lot of people, I feel like it's very hard for people to embrace change, which is why a lot of things in the industry has been so stagnant and been the same, because we are either too scared to add the change or we're scared to embrace it.
People should really define what change really looks like, because it could actually be a really positive thing. I mean, diversity doesn't do anything but make situations better. And from our perspective, we give you flavor.
What is next for you? What is coming up after King Esther? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, a lot actually. And I'm really switching up my mindset. So before I was working on everything on just a project by project basis, but I really want to create an institutional foundation to build upon. And that's what I really necessarily haven't done in the past. So I started a new production company called Henry Asher Pictures. We're going to add a couple of divisions, Henry Asher Sound for podcasts and Henry Asher Post for a post-production portion of our company as well. But creatively, I'm currently working on a new one-man show because I do one-man shows. And so I'm working on a very new one about Black masculinity and the journey towards manhood. But also I'm working on a new series about the homeless epidemic on a series called Last Name Unknown, about an unrequited artist and his journey to get through the shelter system and eventually magnify his art.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Shay. You stay safe in these COVID streets.
I'm your host, Shay Says, and you are watching Bold TV.